It's Wednesday, October 16, 2024. Welcome to CVM News at noon. I'm Ramon Gordon. More than $100 million in cash was seized and 2 adults arrested during a major intelligence-led operation in Port St. Catherine on Tuesday. The operation, which targeted lottery scamming in the area, was conducted by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, CTOC, and the St. Catherine South Police Division. The operation resulted in the arrest of a 32-year-old man employed at Beryllium and his 32-year-old common-law spouse, a former employee of the same company.
Premises 22D, St. Vincent Boulevard. The operation yielded approximately 50 million Jamaican dollars, US currency and British pounds. 4 high-end motor vehicles were seized, as well as 2 firearms. 2 adults were arrested. They will be processed and charged under the proceeds of crime offences as well as the Firearms Act.
And a 19-year-old Kingston student has been sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of a man in Seaview Gardens last year. Rohan Davis was handed the sentence in the Supreme Court on July 15, 2024, after pleading guilty to the murder and illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition. The incident occurred on April 6, 2023, when 26-year-old Gregory Smith was shot while sitting on Yellow Sea Drive. Davis reportedly approached and opened fire, killing Smith. The Hunts Bay police responded, and Davis was later arrested and charged on April 13, 2023. Following an investigation, Davis received a life sentence for the murder and will be eligible for parole after 20 years and 1 month. He was also sentenced to 20 years for using a firearm to commit a felony, with both sentences to run concurrently. Now, there was a 5-vehicle collision along the Rose Hall Main Road in the Lilliput area in St. James on Tuesday. Reports are that there was traffic buildup along the main road due to a police checkpoint in the area. One driver, however, did not notice the traffic had stopped moving. His vehicle slammed into a Toyota Voxy, resulting in a 3-vehicle collision. No lives were lost and no injuries have been reported. Now, the People's National Party's Council for the Negril Division, Arthel Colley, is appealing to the National Water Commission, NWC, to address water shortages which have affected several communities in the area. Colley says he was previously informed that the NWC only supplies Negril with 66% of water daily, as a 100 supply would plunge the residents into hardship as the dry season approaches. As such, he's calling on authorities to do more.
I'm calling on the National Water Commission to do something as it relates to the problem in Negril. The minister came and told us that we would see a change as it relates to the water supply in Negril, and nothing is happening. The tourist season will begin in probably 2 months' time, and if we are facing this shortage now, I don't know what is going to happen.
At a recent JLP conference held in Duncan's Trelawney, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett made plans known for the tourism sector. The minister says there will be a boom in the benefits for tourism workers as they can look forward to better pension plans ahead. Adrian Williams tells us more.
A pension scheme is a prudent economic method for funding an individual's retirement. A process Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett says the government seeks to make better for tourism workers.
Today, in 2 years, since my Prime Minister and your Prime Minister signed off with Cabinet on this pension plan, 9,700 workers have already signed up and they have contributed in a fund of $3 billion Jamaica. You know what that means? That when that fund matures, your pension will be the same, if not better, than the big man them around the place who have pension. Because the fund is going to be one of the largest funds anywhere in the Caribbean. And as a result of which, you will be able to get a better pension when you retire.
For persons who started contributing towards their pension shortly before retirement,
Prime Minister Andrew Olney says that there are people in the industry who started out when the fund began at age 59 And them only would have 5 years to contribute before them retire, or 6 years. And we said we would put $1 billion in the fund to make sure that when you retire 6 years after you're contributing, you will get $220,000 a year.
That works out to approximately $18,000 per month for persons who would have worked 5 to 6 years before retirement. The minister claims the Labour Party has the formula for development.
Tell me why we should wait and waste time with people who don't understand development. When they talk about it, tell them we say time come for us to get rid of bad mind and bad management and bad thinking.
Minister Bartlett offered morale-boosting words for supporters to keep Northern Trelawney Member of Parliament Tova Hamilton.
And all them people who used to try and couldn't succeed and want to come back, come try again. Tell them they're irrelevant. We're done with them. Because Tova is now fully in charge and she is going to carry the development forward.
The seat will be contested by the People's National Party's Dr. Wickham McNeil. Adrian Williams for CVM News.
Some residents in Montpelier, Hanover, are now protesting the death of a man in their community in recent days. The victim has been identified as 20-year-old Adria Vidal, also called Chiron, of Hellgate in Montpelier. Members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Fire Brigade visited the community this morning to cool tensions. However, the residents are adamant the situation was wrongly handled.
Saturday afternoon around after 12, 4 police come on Montpelier. They come and knock on the grill. Kiran, this guy, come out and open the grill and let them in. Once he let them in, then push him in a room and just shot him in the head, that's it. And they said they pull gun pan them. So how you gonna pull gun on somebody and then you open the grill, let them in? And a 4 police and I just you alone there. Then you have gun and 18 police in your house. You don't have them and then kick off the door and come in and you open the grill with them 2 hands because you can't use 1 hand to open the grill. You have to use 4 hands to open it and pull it because they are closed. And you're letting them and they come and push you in their room and just shoot you. We want justice.
We're now moving on to our discussion segment. Now, the Integrity Commission has referred Manchester MP Mikel Phillips for prosecution after the commission said Phillips breached the IC Act. However, Phillips, though acknowledging his statutory declarations were delayed, says he did not breach the Act. Phillips paid some $250,000. However, the payment was also late. On Wednesday, reports surfaced that the MP is to be charged with breaching the IC Act. Joining us now to explain the legal implications is Attorney-at-Law Michael Williams. Mr. Williams, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start by perhaps examining the rationale for the Director of Corruption Prosecution. Why refer this further?
Well, I cannot speak to the mind of the integrity.
Fair enough.
However, it would appear that the IC has taken a position that it should be pursuing breaches of the Corruption Act and that members of Parliament should be brought to books if they breach Section 39 and 41 of the Act. Now, the member has stated that he was late because of some reasons and that he, in fact, paid the fine. The matter now, if it's referred and it goes to court, is for a judge to decide whether or not, in the circumstance, the member acted reasonably in the circumstances.
Mr. Williams, could the director have exercised discretion with Mr. Phillips if he was experiencing challenges in organizing the documents on time or if there was no evidence of mens rea in submitting the declarations late?
Well, there is almost a reverse burden on the member to show that, in fact, he had no intention of being late. The member stated that he was late because he had to put some documents together and inadvertently was late. Having been involved in assisting people to file these declarations myself, I once had to take the extraordinary position of writing to the IC on behalf of a client to explain that the client could not meet the deadline, and that was before the deadline was upon the declarant. I had to ensure that I wrote to them ahead of time to state that he was having issues with the banks in terms of getting this verifiable statements from them. So I would encourage members of parliament to be a little bit more proactive. If you know that your deadline is to be met and you are having difficulties, the reasonable thing to do is to write to the IC and explain the difficulties you are having. I wouldn't want to comment on the issues relating to discretion because I am not in the mind of the prosecutor, the commissioner prosecutor who is looking at the matter and forming an opinion as to whether or not the member was reasonable in his explanation as to his lateness.
Mr. Williams, speaking from experience now, what are the most likely defenses Mr. Phillips would be able to mount in court?
Well, again, that would be for him and his attorney at law to discuss, but I would say if he can show that he took reasonable steps to obtain the information and that there were administrative delay on the part of the financial institutions to provide the information he needed to file a declaration, then a court may look at it and say, well, in the circumstances, his delay was reasonable. I personally am at the point as a citizen where I am very, very encouraged that the IC is now taking the position that sitting members of parliament and public officials should be brought to books. If we do not engender this kind of culture where the IC is acting and taking steps against public officials, then the old style of doing business will continue to remain. And Jamaica does not need that at the moment. Taxpayers and citizens are demanding that our parliamentarians live up to the expectations provided for in the legislation that they passed. It is they who passed the act, and so they must live up to it.
That's correct. Mr. Williams, thank you so much. We'll likely be having more conversations in the future. Thanks for joining us. That was Attorney at Law Michael Williams. Stay with us. More CVM News at noon after this.